What's up guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Gareth from Park Cameras, and today we're checking out this, the Fujifilm GFX100S. Super exciting, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a very exciting camera to use. I was very excited to get my hands on it. I really liked the original GFX100. It was an absolute beast of a camera, to be honest, but that also included in terms of size and weight and kind of usability. So I actually did take that out and about and use it, in various places. However, I do completely understand why that is probably more of a studio camera, and you're getting crazy megapixels, getting crazy resolution, amazing images, but that camera was very big. Whereas this one is not quite as big. I happen to have a massive lens on it, so maybe that's not super helpful. I've got the 100 to 200 GF lens on here, but this is a much more kind of usable, compact, lighter camera, easy to take out and about, no worries at all, but you're still getting that crazy resolution, 102 megapixels. Fujifilm call this large format instead of medium format. I totally understand why. It's really impressive that they've managed to get it into this much smaller, lighter body, which is also still very easy to use, and importantly, is way less expensive as well. It's much, much cheaper, which is also very impressive. Now you can check out the actual price, the full specs as well if you want to, but that price is interesting by clicking the link down in the description, because this is an exciting camera for sure. Image quality, just like the original GFX100, amazing, really, really stellar image quality. Looks fantastic. The amount of detail in the shots, as you can imagine, 102 megapixels, crazy. Now I know you're thinking, do you really need 102 megapixels? And the answer, of course, is no. You certainly don't. There's no situation I can imagine, unless you really need to crop massively and still print on the side of a skyscraper, you realistically don't need 102 megapixels. However, need is a very strong word, because what 102 megapixels allows you is a huge amount of flexibility when it comes to editing. You can crop really significantly without worrying about the loss of detail and the loss of resolution. You can reframe things in post. There's lots of things that you can do with that kind of resolution. It does make the files pretty big, not gonna lie to you, they are pretty big, and actually it probably did extend my editing time a little bit, just in terms of, Lightroom, Photoshop, stuff like that. It was just a little bit longer to actually edit them. I mean, just in terms of importing them onto the computer, takes a little bit longer. But, that's absolutely fine. These are big, big files. If you don't want to use the full resolution, you can, of course, just reduce the size of the files that you're actually shooting inside the camera. Of course, the colors on a Fujifilm, as you'd expect, looks super nice. They're really, really lovely. And that's saying something, considering the weather is just gray all the time. So there's not a huge amount of color around, but the Fujifilm colors always look fantastic. And of course, you've got the film simulations in there as well, which, to be honest, are very exciting to play around with. Things like bleach bypass, Eterna cinema for video, which we'll come on to in a little bit. There's loads of things in there that are really exciting to have a play with, and it kind of changes maybe the kind of images that you might take. So where the GFX100 was primarily probably used more as a studio camera, this is absolutely designed to be able to take out and about, to do all kinds of various things, which is exactly what I did. It's very, very usable out in the field, landscape photography, portrait photography, but out and about, all kinds of stuff. I deliberately went down to a kind of slightly more difficult to access area to try and take photos of waves smashing against rocks and all that kind of stuff. I had to climb down there, but it was totally doable with this camera, which I don't know, if it would be as easy. Certainly, it certainly wouldn't be as easy with the original GFX100. Of course, Fujifilm have been absolutely pointing out this is not just a stills camera, and it does have some really decent video specs in there as well. 4K up to 30 frames a second, and that's 10-bit color as well. It's broadcast quality video, and it looks really, really good. Of course, you can use things like the Eterna cinema film simulation mode, which looks great for video, or you can color grade it in post as well with that 10-bit color. You've got loads of options for how you kind of want to end up with the end result. Of course, it also supports F-Log as well, and 12-bit Apple ProRes RAW as well. Now, all of this was shot completely handheld using the 100 to 200mm lens, and that's helped a lot by the improved image stabilisation in the camera. Now, that really helps with handheld shooting, whether you're shooting photos or video. Of course, you can have a slightly lower shutter speed on there. It's improved from the GFX100, and I did notice the difference. I don't think the system's going to blow anyone away. You know, we see image stabilization really across the board now in all kinds of cameras, but it is nice and impressive to have it in this system, especially considering how much smaller it is than the original GFX100. In terms of autofocus, it's pretty decent, to be honest. It's pretty much exactly what I experienced on the GFX100. So it is good. It has face and eye detection as well. It's probably not the best system for autofocus that I've ever used, but that's because there's so many unbelievable autofocus systems now. This is still very good and very reliable. I had a tiny bit of hunting here and there when it came to the eye autofocus, but for the most part, it was totally usable and totally reliable as well. So there's only a couple of instances where I had a bit of hunting. And to be fair, the conditions we were shooting in were not ideal. So it wasn't as if we had good sun and good light and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of a harder test, I guess. So worth being aware, a little bit of hunting back and forth, but definitely nothing that would put me off at least. I also just want to mention, tiny thing, really unimportant to be honest, but the shutter sound is so, it's just very, you know, it's the one. Every time I was taking the photos, that shutter sound, it's just very good. I even used continuous shooting with the waves just to kind of test that out a little bit. Again, very reliable. I was able to capture the moment by using that. Overall, this is a super impressive camera, capable of a lot, and at this much smaller size. I mean, this is a 900 gram body. You know, this is totally hand-holdable one-handed if you really wanted to. I don't ever really know why you would do that, but you could if you wanted to, and that's the point. This is a massive difference from the GFX100. You know, the buttons are all very similar. They all feel good. You've got the flip-out screen at the back, not flip out to the side, but you know, that's certainly a very usable and a nice screen to be able to use. The viewfinder is fantastic. Everything looks really good. You've got the nice screen at the top, which I always like, little LCD screen at the top to tell your settings, to show you your waveforms, all kinds of stuff like that. Really useful stuff, very ergonomic feel to it, but in this much smaller body, much lighter body, which is really impressive. It's just really impressive. They've got this huge resolution, this nice big sensor in there, and it's just a really lovely camera to actually shoot with. It feels like a proper camera, if that makes sense. It feels just really good. Now, if you have any questions about this at all, pop them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to get back to you ASAP. If you have any thoughts as well, I'd love to hear them down there. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about 100 megapixels, you know, or 102 to be specific. Do you need it? I mean, obviously not, right? But do you want it? And that's the question, right? That's the one that we all, you know, how is that not exciting? I guess is what I'm saying. How is 102 megapixels not an exciting thing to go out and take photos with? You can check out the camera for yourself, like I mentioned earlier, by checking out the link down in the description. That'll give you the price, all the specs, everything that you might want to know. Of course, if you like the video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and of course subscribe for more stuff. We've got loads of stuff all the time. I will of course see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.